ఓం శ్రీ గురుభ్యో నమః. హరి ఓం. శ్రుతిస్మృతిపురాణానామాలయం కరుణాలయం నమామి భగవత్పాదశంకరం లోకశంకరం. You may say with me, I will say the entire line. చూడోత్తంసిత చారు చంద్ర కలికా చంచత్శిఖా భాస్వరః. So there is a pathantara, charu chandra, chandra charu, like that, right? Both are okay. Leela dagdha vilola kama shalabha shreyo dashagre sphuran antaspurjadapara mohatimira pragbharamucchatayan chetas sadmani yoginam vijayate jnana pradipo haraha. So it's a convention of the poets to start their work with a prayer. And so the prayer is to Lord Shiva, a particular form of Ishvara as described in Puranas, the Puranic form. I was saying that in the Upanishads, in the Veda, and in that ancient literature, no particular form is adopted for Ishvara. Ishvara is Saguna, but not Sakara. What is called Saguna, Nirakara. Whereas in the Puranic literature, a particular form is adopted for the purpose of Upasana. So now we have Saguna, Sakara. And the form and the details associated with the form are highly symbolic. I was also mentioning that these ancient seers were great symbologists. And so, when the description is there of a particular form, you now have the letter of the description, which gives all the details of the physical form, which resemble similar form among ourselves. And then the spirit of that description, which is the symbolism associated with the form. Okay? So now you have the letter and the spirit. Both you should get. Generally, letter is a religion and spirit is the spirituality. And so those who are caught with the letter, with the physical form, they are stuck with the religiosity. And so the difference between religion and the spirituality is determined by literality versus spirituality. You are stuck with the letter of the description, or you now know the spirit of the description. So we should know both. So first let us see the description per se. How is it? So Haraha Shivaha, Lord Shiva. Now this Lord Shiva is shining brilliantly with the digit of the moon on the crest. The digit of the moon is used as an ornament of the crest or crest jewel. That is the description. It is a gentleman-like description, These earlier days, these kings, etc., they used to put on ornaments. Later, the men dropped the ornaments and the women hold on to the ornaments. But some of the sannyasis also take up the ornaments and they put on a lot of gold, which is all unnecessary. Anyway, therefore, so this is how the conventions that we find in the social life, you find them described in the form of Ishvara also. So now Shiva, he has a crest jewel. He adorns his crest with an ornament. And what is the ornament? He plucks a piece of the moon, a small piece of the moon, he plucks and puts it as an ornament. Take it like that. So moon is supposed to have many pieces put together. That's why as the pieces are taken one after the other, you have the black fortnight. And as the pieces are added one after the other, you have the white fortnight. You know all about the moon. This is the convention of the poets. And therefore, Shiva plucks one piece, or he picks up one piece of the moon and uses it as an ornament on his crest. So that is the first description. Then he has destroyed this mischievous guy called Kama, Mr. Kama, the god of love. That is how probably the god of lust, not so much the god of love. So the god of lust. But quite often in the society, the lust and love are taken as interchangeable or sometimes as just the same. And therefore, suppose a young man comes and says, I love a lady or a young lady, that he means he has lust for the young lady. That is what it all means quite often, more often than not. Therefore, so, I suppose you are open-minded and you allow me to speak freely. Is it all right? Okay. Or are you tight that you should not be like that? Anyway, I am a very free guy. So, and you make a god out of him. And so he is the god of love. Let me say god of love. Doesn't look nice to say god of lust all the time. So, the god of love, called Kamaha. Kamaha is the desire. Not necessarily sex all the time. Then more often it is the desire, Kamaha. And he comes in a physical form too. And now everything comes in a physical form. So he comes in a physical form and tries to play his mischief against Lord Shiva. You see, what is the difference between Shiva and Jiva? Shiva is the god, Jiva is the person. What is the difference? If he becomes a victim of the mischief of Kama, that is the Jiva. And if he conquers the Kama, he is the Shiva. And so Shiva in that story, a very beautiful story it is. And Kalidasa describes this story in his poem, the most famous poem called Kumara Sambhavaha. So in that poem, the Shiva, he opens his third eye. Third eye, literally, in literal terms, it is somewhere here. And this is the third eye. There is a meaning in all that. And the third eye is opened. And a fire jumps out of the third eye. And the fire turns this mischievous guy, Kama, into ashes. Like even a moth is turned into ashes when it jumps into the fire. That's the second line. Then this Shiva is also called the lamp of wisdom, Jnana Pradipaha. The moment you present Ishvara as the wisdom and take the metaphor of a lamp or a light, so the metaphor can be pursued further. Whenever you have a lamp, it needs a wick, a wick is needed. And what is the wick? So, Shreyo Dashagre Sphuran. This light is shining brilliantly at the tip of a wick. Dasha is a wick. Agra is the tip. And what is that wick now? It cannot be the real wick, It cannot be the literal wick. It can only be metaphor. Everything is metaphor here. And therefore, the wick stands for Shreyaha. Shreyo Dashagre Sphuran. You must have come across Kathopanishad. And there, it is presented in a very beautiful way before every human being, male or female, before every human being, as he chooses to live an independent life in this world. Two paths are available. They present themselves before him. So here is a path and here is a path. Two paths. Quite often if you go to a railway station, like Haridwar station, so the rail, it extends on both sides and we are standing on the platform. You look this side and you look that side. Now you can take a train that goes this direction or you can take a train that goes in the opposite direction. Two paths are available always. So something like that. So they are mutually opposite to each other, diametrically opposite paths, two of them. So when a human being tries to start his life, at the age of 15 or 18 or 20, 25, so an independent life he starts. And so now two paths are available. What are the two paths? One is Shreyaha and the other is Preyaha. I don't want to go into many details, just briefly. So, Preyaha means very pleasant and Shreyaha it will not be pleasant. It could be demanding, but ultimately it will accomplish welfare. It will bring welfare. So now two paths are there. One is very pleasurable path, and the other is not pleasurable, but it will accomplish good to you in the long run. These are the two paths. So suppose it is night time and you have to have some food, and now you go to a party and enjoy a sumptuous dinner late into the night, a very pleasurable evening. Or Laghu Bhojanam, night time you are not supposed to eat heavy. Eat some simple light food and relax and retire for the day, so that you can get up early in the morning and do some yoga and meditation. This is another path. Two paths are available. Many times the worldly people take the first path. It is very pleasurable, but it will lead to all kinds of troubles. If that path is pursued by people, which often they do, they end up in all kinds of diseases. Bhoge roga bhayam. That is the path of preyaha. Preyaha is the word, okay? And then the other path is, it keeps you healthy and happy, and you can grow in life to higher consciousness. That is the path. That is called Shreyaha. Now, this Jnana Pradipaha, the lamp of wisdom, is shining at the light of wisdom is shining at the tip of the wick, which is Shreyaha. Got it? Not Preyaha. Did you get it? Okay. Shreyo Dashagre Sphuran. So, Sphuran means shining or burning at the tip of a wick, which is Shreyaha. So, how to translate Shreyaha? Welfare. Shreyaha, which is something that will do good to you. So, that is the Shreyaha. Okay? That means, when you understand Shiva as the knowledge, and that knowledge is there shining brilliantly at the tip of a wick, which is in the form of Shreyaha. The idea is, if you follow the path of Shreyaha, that wisdom will be yours. That is the idea. Okay? Then, Antaspurjadapara mohati nirapragbhara muchatayam. So this Shiva is shining in the heart of the yogis, Chetas Sadmani, the abode of the heart. There. You see, when you go to a temple, you have that inner sanctum where the shrine, where the murti, the idol of Ishvara is kept and worshipped. That inner sanctum, if you see, it is a very small place. You don't keep it in a very big place generally. And even to enter inside, the priest has to bend and enter inside. And inside it is mostly dark also, semi-dark. A small lamp will be burning inside, right? That is all the representation of what is being described here. And that corresponds to the heart. The heart. We are talking of the heart, not the head. So, head is Jiva, heart is Shiva. I told you. So, we are talking of the heart. In the heart, there is a small space. And Dahara Kasha. Dahara means Alpa, a little. Space. In the heart, there is a small space. In that small space, there is Ishvara, the Shiva. And like in that inner sanctum of a temple, inside, there is some darkness also. And a small light is also burning. What is the light? The lamp. That is the lamp of wisdom. And the wick is the path of righteousness. Shreyaha. That is the path of righteousness. Not the path of pleasure seeking. So that path. That is the wick. And then there must be some darkness to be dispelled by this light. When there is no darkness, what is the value of light? And so the darkness has to be dispelled. What is the darkness? There is always the darkness in the heart. Where Lord Shiva is abiding, in the same location, there is darkness. And what is the darkness? And this darkness is expanding. It is filling the whole thing. Antaha, inside. Spurjat means it is spreading. Inside it is spreading. The darkness. The darkness can only be one thing, that is delusion, moha, antaspurjat. Apara moha. The moha, the delusion that people nurse in their hearts has no limit. Boundless moha it is. And that is the darkness. So there is so much darkness in our hearts. The darkness of delusion. I will explain what is delusion to you. This darkness, this moha, delusion alone, is taken as the darkness, timira. And this darkness, it is a pragbharam, means, you see, the poet looks at the darkness as coming in bundles and bundles. Suppose it is a dark night and an overcast sky, no moon, no stars, and no light around. Now the darkness resembles like a thick mass of darkness it is, right? You visualize like that. The poet visualizes. You should be able to imagine. Can you imagine? Or you cannot imagine? If you cannot imagine, you are not, I am not saying about you. You is the style of speaking, okay? Don't take it about you personally, okay? When I say I, that is not Swami TV. When I say you, that is not you, okay? It is a general way of speaking. And so, when you are unable to, if you are unable to imagine, you are not fit for studying a poem. To study a poem, some imagination should be required. Now let me imagine that darkness. So the darkness is so thick that you can cut it with a knife into pieces. That much darkness it is. Thick darkness. And the darkness, it is coming in bundles and bundles. As I am moving in the dark night, it is as if I am moving through all-encompassing bundles of darkness. Okay? Or I can even visualize, it is as if the sky is showering the streams of darkness upon my head. So like that is the darkness. So these bundles of darkness, that is there in the heart, which is the darkness. Everything is symbolic. The darkness which is the delusion. And this lamp of wisdom dispels all that darkness. You got that samasa, you look at it, antaha inside, spujyat spreading, apara boundless, moha delusion, which is timira, the darkness, pragbharam, coming in bundles. And that darkness, uchatayan, dispelling forcibly. It is like you take a huge broomstick and throw away all the darkness, and the light is filled in the space, something like that. So that is how Lord Shiva is doing. The idea is, when you contemplate upon Lord Shiva in the heart, all the darkness of delusion, or delusion, darkness like delusion which is residing in the heart for eons, for ages, for countless births, the darkness is sitting here. All of it will be dispelled by the contemplation of Lord Shiva, the light of wisdom, which is in the form of Lord Shiva. That is the description. So now you have the Anvaya. Anvaya means the syntax. Haraha Vijayate. Where Chetaspadmani. Of whom Yoginam. And this Haraha, Shiva, how is he? Jnana Pradipaha. And also Bhaswaraha, a long line. And also Shalabhaha, another description. And also Shreyo Dashagre Sphuran. And also Uchatayan, Pragbharam Uchatayan. That Shiva, who is in the form of light of wisdom, abides in the hearts of the yogis. Did you get it? That is the verse. Okay? Now, let me present it briefly. The literal part of it is Lord Shiva, third eye. And he has the matted hair, which is ornament decorated by the moon, a piece of moon. And that is the Shiva. And these yogis contemplate upon that Shiva. Okay? That is the literal part of it. You find Shiva temples everywhere, where some of these ideas are put in the form of an idol. You can see in an idol, and in a sanctum, inner sanctum, and a lamp glowing there, and some darkness and some light, all that. Okay? Now come to the spirit of it. Shiva is your Swarupa is Shiva. You see, you look at yourself, there is a base element in you. Base means a very inferior element in you, which is me. And so you identify with the body, and then things related to body are taken as mine. This is what is called me and mine syndrome. So you are that me. And you look around and say a few things are mine. This is this base part. Base means inferior. So this impure, base is impure. That impure part of you is the person. And in you need not be impure. You can get rid of all that impurity. And by choice you have kept that impurity. And that ignorance, the darkness of ignorance, it is there in you by choice. It is optional. It is not compulsory. You can get rid of it. You can dispel all of that. That delusion. You know what is delusion? There is something and you take it for something else. That is called delusion. Moha. Moha is always taking one thing for the other. Sanskrit words, you know. Moha vaichitye. That is the dhatu. Vaichitya. Something is there and you take it for something else. Like there is a rope and you take it for snake. That is moha. So, like I will tell you some of the examples of moha. Suppose we assume that happiness is outside. That is moha. And you assume the physical body is yourself. That is moha. You assume God is above, somewhere in the seventh heaven, or in the clouds catching cold, etc. So that is moha. This is all moha. So many of mohas. So there is a friend and a foe. That is moha. There is no friend, no foe. There is only divinity. That is the truth. Whereas moha is, there is a friend, there is a foe. That is the moha. Like that, our whole life is lived in the influence of this delusion. Endless delusion. And that is the darkness. And the light of wisdom will dispel all that. And then this jiva, the person, becomes a Shiva. So the better part of you, the superior part of you, the enlightened part of you is a Shiva. In Rishikesh, there is a saying, a proverb in the society. I heard in the streets of Rishikesh. So, not this visit earlier. So, it says, खाके जीव होता है, खिलाके ईश्वर होता है. That is what they say in Rishikesh. Suppose there is a laddu. You look around, nobody is seeing. So, take it out and you eat it. You are the jiva. Okay? And you have a laddu. And you see somebody hungry. Or he wants a piece of it. And you share it. Or you give it to him. You are Shiva. So the base means BAC, base means impure, not the base, okay? That the impure part of you is jiva. You need not keep the impurity. By choice you have kept. You can throw it out and you can become pure. You need not nurse all this delusion in your heart. Who asked you to nurse the delusion? You dispel it and allow the light of wisdom to shine in your heart brilliantly. Why should you not do that? You do that, you manifest your own inner divinity. That is the symbolism associated with all this. Then one small thing. Why this moon on the head as an ornament? You see, full moon is not here. Only a digit of the moon is here, not full moon. Full moon is here. So when you realize your fullness, you do not lack anything. You have all that you need within yourself. Happiness you have within you. The fullness you have within you. The peace you have within you. The divinity that you want to serve. The God that you want to worship is within you. Everything is within you. But you imagine everything is outside. So this is the delusion. That is the darkness. And by understanding and by living what you understand, that is more important. So you can dispel all that darkness and you can bring out that hidden divinity from within you. That is the symbolism. So in that symbolism, The peace of the moon is here, whereas the fullness of the moon is here. Moon stands for Amrutam, nectar. The fullness of the moon, Amruta, is here, heart, never head. And a small piece of the moon is here. A small piece of the moon means you are separated from the whole and you stand in isolation. That is here. So, don't be a head person, be a heart person. Don't be a head person. There is a big difference between head people and heart people. Head people are all the time calculating and very manipulative, very crafty and very cheating and mischievous people. They are all the head people. All attorneys and the income tax practitioners, etc. The lawyers, what they call. Here they call lawyers. Another word for attorneys. These are all the head people. Don't be a head guy. Be a heart guy. Even in Vedanta, when all the Vedanta is in your head, you still remain a bag of bones. No big deal. Some of that Vedanta should come down into the heart. Then that will bring out the godliness within you. You should be a heart person, not a head person. Okay? A head person is very calculating, very calculative. Whereas a heart person is very effusive, very giving, very effusive, not holding back anything. Whereas a head guy ever calculating and measuring all the time. Suppose he has to give something, first he has to measure and then only give, like that. So, that is the idea of a piece of moon here and the full moon here. That could be one symbolism that comes to my mind. There can be even a better symbolism, you think about it. Now let us say the verse one time and conclude. Are you satisfied with the arrangement of the words and all that? Come on. Chudottam sita charu chandra kalika chinchachikha bhasvaraha chinchachikha bhasvaraha lila daddha vilola kamashalabha shreyo dashagre sphuran అంతఃస్ఫూర్జదపారమోహతి నిరప్రాగ్భారముచ్చాటయన్ చేతస్సద్మని యోగినాం విజయతే జ్ఞానప్రదీపోహరః. Then comes this verse. బోద్ధారో మత్సరగ్రస్తాః ప్రభవస్మయదూషితాః అబోధోపహతాశ్చాన్యే జీర్ణమంగే సుభాషితం. Very interesting verse. I am particularly enthused by this verse somehow. You see, I will give a brief description. You tell me whether you have to choose between two things, A, B. This description, does it belong to the modern times or does it belong to ancient times? You have to tell. Okay? Shall I describe? All the young people have become recalcitrant. Means very noisy and given to all kinds of pleasure seeking, not behaving properly, not respecting elders. So the youngsters are entirely misbehaving. And so the society is not following any dharma. It is steeped in adharma. So that is the description. Now this description, does it belong to modern times or does it belong to ancient times? How do you? Modern times. Okay. Now I will tell you a story. There was an archaeological team. They were digging. The archaeologists will always be digging. They are not interested what is on the surface of the earth. They are always busy looking at things that are covered up by the earth, underneath the earth. They are digging. And suddenly they found a tablet, a stone tablet. And then there is something written on the tablet. They don't know the script. Unless you know the script, you don't know what language it is. You cannot make out what is in that. And therefore, this is the research. They started doing research and found the script, the Rosetta. You know, Rosetta. Did you hear that? So that is the script. They discovered the script. And then they deciphered what is written on the tablet. And what I just now told was written on the tablet. You got it? So, that means human society was always the same. the description which I gave, it applies to 2015, 2017 as much as BC 250. Human society is always the same. And then the society in India, the society in Russia, go towards the west. And then Europe, the society in Europe, and the society in America, just the same. You think they are different societies. They are outwardly different. They dress differently. They eat differently. They speak differently. Their mannerisms are different. Skin color is different. Everything is different. But the fundamental human consciousness is just the same. You know what it is? What is the fundamental human consciousness? Sorrow and insecurity. People in India are sorrowful and insecure. In spite of their overwhelming religiosity. People in Europe, they are sorrowful and insecure in spite of the revolutions brought in by technology, science and technology. People in America are sorrowful and insecure in spite of their wealth. So human consciousness is just the same. Horizontally it is same. Vertically means time-wise. On the time scale it is same. I make a request to you. You should listen to me with an open mind. Okay? Don't complain. We know we do that only. I'm not sure about it. Sometimes so many fixations one can have. And sometimes all the knowledge that you have accumulated could become a block that could act as a screen. So suppose you are imprisoned in what all you know. You will not be able to understand what I am trying to say. Whenever the speaker, not me, any speaker for that matter. So when a speaker comes to speak to you, you are all students for a while, for some time. So many speakers will come to you and I myself will be speaking to you a lot by God's will. So you should listen to it with an open mind. Suppose I say, in India people are sorrowful and insecure. And then in America, why this person is not a patriot? You should not start like that. It is not about patriotism. Nothing to do with patriot. I am a patriot. Nothing to do with patriotism. No, this man doesn't like America because he says people are sorrowful and insecure in spite of their wealth. Not like that. I love everybody. The whole world I love. So, Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. Therefore, you should not listen to what I speak while you fixate yourself within the confines of your ideas and your opinions. You should not be like that. You should not be opinionated. You should not be fixated. You should have a wide open mind, like the wide open sky. And then whatever is said, if it is worthy, you will absorb it. If it is not worthy, it will go its way. It should be like that. So, therefore, this complaint that all dharma is gone, everywhere adharma, this is not a 21st century complaint. It was there all the time. Bhartrhari is complaining exactly in the similar language. You got the background of that verse? So he says, Bodharo matsaragrastaha. You look around, there are so many teachers. India is a nation of preachers. Everybody is a preacher. And I am sure every one of you is anxiously striving to become a preacher as early as possible. It is just a matter of 3 into 365 days standing before you and preacherhood. So anxious to be a preacher. Everybody wants to preach. India is a nation of preachers. That's why nobody follows anything. They only preach. So, and all these preachers, you see, there are so many channels, the TV channels 24/7 dedicated to pouring out so much of religious preaching. No wisdom anywhere. All All humbug, I tell you. Nothing worthwhile. And the person, you see how I am complaining? You see Bhartrihari in me. That is what he is saying. And these preachers, you see, suppose you come across two Vedanta teachers, they will be jealous of each other. That is what he is saying. All these preachers, or you want to put teachers, you are welcome. It doesn't make much difference, I suppose, whether you call it teacher or preacher. So, you pick up verses from the printed texts and then go on explaining them. And now, can you call it teacher? I doubt it. You can only be called a preacher. What is written there, or what is already prepared and kept, that you pull out and go on preaching. Teacher means one who understands life and one who teaches life. I want to ask you a question. Are you studying a printed book or are you studying the book of life? What is it that you are studying? You should be studying the book of life, not a printed book. Printed book will be there. I am not suggesting you throw away the printed book. It will be there. It will help. It will help. But the goal is, the focus is, study of the book of life. Anyway, India is a nation of preachers. And all these preachers, they are mutually jealous. They are in the grip. Grasta means in the stranglehold of jealousy. Bodharo matsaragrasta. It is something like, I go someplace and I want to give a talk, present a paper, or give a lecture. But then there are another 4 or 5 people of the same type who are willing to present their piece, and they are all jealous of me because I was given the opportunity. So when I see so much jealousy, I don't want to grab time for teach. I am not anxious to teach or any such thing. I will teach only if I must. It is an act of love, and it's a labor of love. It is not an effort to grab some name and fame or whatever. And therefore, when I see so much jealousy all around, I don't feel like teaching. I feel like withdrawing into some corner. Who cares to teach unless there is so much enthusiasm in the students? So, Bhartrihari, he faces similar situation. He has so much in his chest. He can teach so many wonderful things, but his teaching is not received with love because of jealousy. Bodharo matsaragrasta. The teachers or the preachers are in the grip of jealousy. Prabhavas mayadushita. The argument, Prabhavaha is the boss. Prabhu is the boss. So finally, who will teach? The one who is favored by the boss will teach, not the one who is the most qualified. Right? The boss should favor. And generally, the boss is an ignoramus. He just doesn't know anything. That is the boss. And he decides who has to teach. And therefore, under this boss, suppose you want to put some sense into his head, the boss head. Sir, the teaching is this, and for this a certain qualification is required, and so please understand that person is not the right teacher. Probably I should be considered. Suppose you want to say that to the boss is so arrogant that he won't listen to you. Smaya is arrogance, vanity. He is not only ignorant, but he is arrogant. It's a double problem it is. Ignorance is one problem, and generally, wherever there is ignorance, there is arrogance. Wise people are very polite, and they are very nice and simple. These ignoramuses, they have so much profile and so much showy they are. So the bosses who decide that who should teach and who should not, these bosses, they are sullied. Dushita means sullied. They are sullied by arrogance or vanity, prabhavas mayadushitaha. Then the public, the students or the people who have to listen to these teachings, how are they? Suppose they come together and choose, no, the boss cannot decide who should teach. We know who should teach, and we want this person to teach. Suppose they come together and decide, that will carry the day. That will be implemented, because the public opinion will determine everything ultimately. But the people, the students who have to learn, and the people who have to learn, they are overwhelmed by ignorance. They don't know what is good for them. They are so dull-headed or muddle-headed, they cannot decide what is good for them. Abodha, ignorance. They are so dull-headed, they cannot differentiate between a good teaching and some elementary babbling. They cannot differentiate between the two. So, somebody comes, and with elaborate fanfare the man comes, and then so many arrangements, seat arrangement, and then some devotees, they are earmarked for keeping the seat ready, and he sits on very comfortably prepared seat, and then the mic, this, that, so much arrangement. He comes 10 minutes late also, and all these arrangements are done. Already 20 minutes, and then start Guru Stotram. For 20 minutes recite. What Guru Stotram you will recite for 20 minutes? Day after day, the same thing you have recited already. And then once this recitation is over, the Mahatma will start reciting his prayer. Come on, teach something. No, prayer. Prayer shuru hota hai Shankaracharya ka 3 verses, and then Guru Parampara ka 5 verses, and he is praying still. And at the end, he will say some silly elementary things which make no sense before sensible people. And then he walks away again with all fanfare. And the students or the audience who are supposed to distinguish between the real and the worthless, they are dull-headed. They don't know what is real and what is worthless. What an unenviable situation, most unfortunate situation it is. Abodhopahatascha anye, the general people, general public, is overwhelmed by, or smitten, upahata, smite means biting. They are smitten by ignorance. And the one who is the wise guy, who can share his wisdom with people, it's an act of love, labor of love. Who can share with people so that the people get enlightened and their life becomes easier, less burdensome. And that man, he has a nice thing to say in his chest, but it won't come out. It won't come out. It gets digested within. Jernamange subhashitam. You got it? Now you say with me, bodharaha. The preachers, you say, or the teachers, matsaragrastaha, are in the grip of jealousy. I am giving you word to word meaning, okay? You should know some Sanskrit, it will improve the Sanskrit also. Prabhavaha, the rulers, smayadushitaha, are sullied by vanity. Anyecha, and others also, that is the common people, abodhopahataha, are smitten by ignorance. Subhashitam, the good message, and they, inside the body, jirnam, digested. So, I eat my words. That is not the expression. That is wrong. Sorry. I keep my wisdom with me. What all I could have said, it just remains within me and gets digested inside me. Nothing comes out of me. Because when I see the situation prevailing around, I don't get any enthusiasm to open my heart. That is the verse. Having said that, he has written 100 verses about Vairagya. Okay? Now let us say the verse. Bodharo matsaragrastaha prabhavasmaya dūshitaha abodhopahatāścānye chednamange subhashitam. You can clearly see that the poet is very frustrated from this. You do come across such frustration that is reflected in the poetry. You don't see it in Kalidasa. There is a poet called Bhavabhuti, the author of Uttara Ramacharitam, Malati Madhavam, like dramas. And he is a very frustrated poet. In the initial part of the Uttara Ramacharitam, all his frustration comes out. So, when you speak something, or when you record something, that will betray your inner feelings. So, Bhartrhari is a very unhappy man and a frustrated man. He had a very bitter lesson taught by the life itself, and therefore some frustration comes out like that. Good. Better it come out, and he becomes free. Now he can say some nice things. Now you come to that verse number 2 in your paper. The verse seems to be very long and windy. We don't be disheartened. But by the time we break up, it will look very simple. Like how simple it looks like, similarly. You may say with me, Bhrantam desham aneka durga vishamam praptam na kinchit phalam tyaktva jati kulabhimanamuchitam seva krita nishphala bhuktam mana vivarjitam paragruheshvashankaya kakavat Trishne drumbhasi papakarma pishune nadyapi santushyasi. You see, in the teaching there is a style. The style is you lecture yourself. That is a style. Very effective means of inner transformation. You lecture yourself. Somebody else gives a lecture. Until and unless that lecture is converted into a lecture you tell yourself, till then that lecture will not have any impact upon you. There is a saying, you be a light unto yourself. And then the guru is the preceptor. He is outside, but then he must be inside also. There must be a guru inside you. And that is yourself. Therefore now you are the preceptor and you are the pupil. Got it? So you teach yourself. And you listen to the teaching of the outer teacher that you do, and then wash off the hands and walk away. That doesn't help. You have to become a teacher unto you. You have to be the pupil also. When you are teaching yourself, you should play this role. You have to be the pupil and you have to be the preceptor. You have to do that. So unless you do that, this vision, it will not enter into your system. It will remain on the periphery. You know, periphery. It will not enter into your system. Therefore, at the end of it all, you can become a scholar of Vedanta. You can give even a very effective lecture to people again. You can teach to people again. But you remain a bag of bones. You don't transform. You are still the same body identified persona. You remain the person identified with the body mind and very worldly. So what is the use of that? So you have to lecture to yourself. You see this trait in all great philosophers. Like some of this music is there, in the music, classical music, the poet addresses his own mind. Oh Mana, please listen to me. I have a message to impart to you. Like that, he addresses his own mind. All these great singers, the saintly singers, they address their own mind. Pibare Rama Rasam Rasane. There is a Sanskrit song. Re, he addresses Re. Oh tongue, you are always interested in multiple tastes and all that. I advise you, for a change, you drink the nectar of the name of Lord Rama. He is not giving the lecture to people. He is telling to his own tongue. He is addressing his own. He is the teacher and he is the pupil. A similar method is being adopted by the poet here. He is addressing that greed sitting in himself. As a Trishne, you can see that Trishne, the fourth line, Trishne means greed. The greed which is there in him. So he addresses that greed. You see, people are greedy. People are greedy. So, we have the greed for money and for things. So this is the greed. For physical objects. Objects means objects of pleasure. For comfort's sake, you need a few things. For example, it is cold, you need one kambal, right? Suppose you have a stack of kambals, 10 of them, and you are sitting over them without giving to anybody, and you are still in the process of collecting some more kambals. Means what? Greed, Similarly, money. Go on collecting money, and then stack it in Almirah, and lock it and keep the lock here. And Shri Narendra Modi passes the demonetization, and all this money you have to throw and put it into Ganga. They throw only 4 anna coins into Ganga. Generally they throw one quarter into the Ganga. But now they throw 1,000 rupee notes into the Ganga. Now Ganga becomes, why should throw into Ganga? They are offering to Ganga. They are also greed. So that by offering this money to Ganga, the Ganga will give us some merit so that you can go to heaven. They are also greed. The demonetized money they offer to Ganga. Greedy fellows. So people are very greedy, I tell you. And then you need one pen. So grab 10 pens because they are available freely. This is called freedom. What is freedom? Freedom is whichever comes free, grab it. That is called freedom. Dumb. So this is the greed. There must be some greed within us, and we have to look within and address that greed. So suppose food is served, buffet. So you are caught between two opposing sentiments, the ambivalence they call. So you want to grab, but you don't want to look like grabbing. So this as well as that. And you want to push the other person, but it is not correct to push like that in a civilized society. But then look around, if somebody else is pushing, then you also start pushing. So like that, people are greedy. When it is time to grab food, greed. Money, greed. Objects of the world, objects of pleasure, greed. There is so much greed. We should have greed for the literature, the study, the lecture. Lecture means not some lecture. So useful lecture which gives us some understanding, etc. So that kind of greed we should cultivate. There we should have greed, not in the objects of pleasure, etc. So anyway, the poet is addressing his own greed. Oh greed, Krishna, means he is addressing his mind, that particular aspect of the mind which is greed. So, because of you, I am suffering a lot. That is what he is telling to his greed. Oh greed, because of you, you make me suffer like this. What is the suffering? Aneka durga vishamam desham bhrantam. I was roaming around. Bhrantam means roamed by me. It is in the passive voice. So bring it into the active voice. So I was roaming all kinds of places. Aneka durga vishamam desham. Desha is place. So from one place to the other, you roam. And then see whether you can grab something there. You grab something. Or you are unable to grab anything. Then go to roam to another place. Like that, roaming and roaming and roaming, all kinds of places. Sometimes when you want to roam, go to a place, many serious obstacles are presented on the way. Durga, Vishamam, you cannot reach easily because of multiple obstacles. And so you cross all those obstacles and reach the place with the fond hope that you can grab something. You made me do all that. Okay. Then what happened? You know what happened? Kinchit phalam na praptam. No outcome was gained by me. Nothing worthwhile was gained by me. So now the sentence reads as, O greed, you made me roam multiple places or multiple locations. Some of them very difficult even to reach because of obstacles on the way. Yet, what I got out of all this effort is zero. Zero-sum game it is. You see, I tell you, in this world, what you can get is zero. And what you need to get is nothing, zero. You don't need to get anything from the world. You don't need to get. But there is a moha, delusion, which makes you think that you have to get things from the world. The world has things to offer, and I have to grab those things. But those things are not here. They are in Uttarakashi. Therefore, you go to Uttarakashi. And in the way, there are so many obstacles to go to Uttarakashi. So cross all those obstacles and reach Uttarakashi, hoping of some sumptuous bhandara. But there is nothing there. So like that. So the idea is, people are constantly roaming from place to place to place. You see, everywhere. You stand on the footpath and watch the traffic. People are going from left to right speedily, as if some wonderful things are waiting for them there. And then on the opposite side also, people are running with the same speed, as if something great is waiting for them there. Now something great, is it waiting in this direction or in this direction? So where should I run now? Aisa hota hai. The world is like that. So, zero-sum game it is. You see, childhood, we were running and running and running. Youth, we were running after something or the other. Then middle age, marriage and all that. Always seeking something. Trying to grab something. In marriage also, we want to grab something. And then beget children. And in that also, through the children, we try to grab something. Go to temple to grab something, heaven or whatever. Go to Ganga, because there is some advantage that I can grab by going to Ganga. That's why I go to Ganga. And then pollute Ganga. So like that. So people are greedy. They want to grab things of this world and also the other world. Some other world is presented before them. It is dangled before them. Here is heaven. And you can get it by doing this and that. And so by doing that and this, therefore they are running after all those kamya karmas. And so this is how people in their worldly life as well as in the so-called religious or spiritual life are constantly searching for something or the other, seeking something or the other, trying to grab something or the other. Sometimes grab somebody's money, sometimes grab punyam, merit, so that you can go to heaven. It is grabbing only, it is greed only. This is how, oh greed, you made me a roamer, a roaming guy, roaming all the time, and it's a zero-sum game. Praptam na kinchit phalam. Having run so much all around in the world trying to grab this, grab that, etc., at the end of the life, you see, I tell you, we start the life, it is like bringing water out from the well. Inside the well there is water. And now you take a bucket with a rope attached to it and throw the bucket into the water. And now fill the bucket. You are pulling the bucket up. But the bucket has so many holes. And the water is draining out. So you are pulling up. The water is draining out. Finally the bucket comes to our hands. The water is not there. And the life has ended. The person come to the deathbed already. He did not get anything. What a misfortune. All this misfortune happened to me because of you. Oh greed, fie upon you. Like that, he is lecturing himself. We will continue this in tomorrow's class. Om Purnamada Purnamidam. My speed is okay with you? The speed is alright? And then my pronunciation is heavily accented. The South Indian accent will be there. Is it okay with you? Very good.